Hello everyone, welcome to my grammar lesson. I am Mrs. Pınar. Today I am going to teach you must and have to. Let's jump in. In English, a necessity is handled through two different word groups. One is required and the other is have to, has to. However, we can take the must pattern in this unit. And we will look at which ones alike. Those who can write their sentence mortars can be trained with better methods. First, I learned that the phrase must means. Must, it means that the situation or something is very necessary or necessary. And this is something that must be done in daily life. So, what is the difference between have to, has to, and must? The phrase must indicates that a situation will be made wrong if it is not done. In other words, it is very necessary but not compulsory. However, when it comes to have to, has to patterns, it definitely describes the situation that must be done and to be done. Now, let's write some example sentences about it. Everybody in a family must work. We must save up some money for the tomorrow. These sentences that we see are handled more in terms of necessity and responsibility. Now, let's make imperative sentences with the must pattern in daily life. We must stop when the light is red. You must pay our debt tonight. Now let's use the phrase must in a sentence to find out someone's intention or request through the question. Must I open the door? Why must you see her? In this question, we can understand how determined the other person is based on his/her answer. Now let's do some examples on prohibiting or giving directives. You must not smoke at the cafe. Now, let's take a look at how the must pattern is used over some condition. If you want to get into the cinema, you must buy a ticket. As you can see in these sentences, it is not possible to enter the cinema without buying a ticket. We have to buy tickets first so we can get into the cinema. Now let's take a look at how and in what way the must pattern is used over a possibility or probability. The woman is not breathing. She must have died. The woman is not breathing. She must be died. So here we understand that if the person is not breathing, then he is died. Now again, due to an obligation in some situations, let's evaluate the must pattern in a sentence. It's too late. You must go home. You must go to college to be a doctor. As you can see in this way, you can make different sentences and get the chance to understand the subject better. We use the phrase must in a sentence as a response to necessity or obligation along with necessity and some conditions. Introduction. These three verbs modal verbs are helping auxiliary verbs that express ideas like ability, necessity, and prohibition. Many modal verbs have more than one meaning. They are always followed by the simple form of a verb. For example, Andrew has to pay his rent every month. This shows that Andrew has no choice. He has an obligation to pay his rent. He will be in trouble if he doesn't pay if he does not pay his rent. Models of necessity. Let's read about how to express necessity or obligation. The modal verbs must, have to, and have got to show that something is not optional, it is necessary. Must is the strongest and most serious modal verb of the three and is most common in writing. It's unusual to use must in questions. I must study tonight. Have got to is most common in informal speech. It is not used in questions. I have got to study tonight. I must study tonight. Have to is the most commonly used model of obligation. It is useful for forming question and negatives. Be careful, the subject and verb must agree for he, she, it subjects and the question form rigors do, does, did. Example, I have to study tonight. Do I have to study tonight? Yes, I do. She has to study tonight. Does she have to study tonight? No, she doesn't. Remember, have, got to, and have to are modal verbs and require a simple verb to follow them. The to is part of the modal. It is not an infinitive to. There is only one way to express past time with these modal verbs. Had to. There is no past tense of must, have, got to. In pronunciation, the modal verb have got to is often contracted as I've got to and sounds like I've gotta. The modal verb have to often sounds like I have to or she has to. Gotta, have to, and has to cannot be used in written English. They are only used in speaking. Now, continue together with some exercise. Must and have to. Must is often personal and expresses someone's opinion. Have to often refers to laws and regulations. You must get your hair cut. I think it's a good idea. You have to wear a uniform. It's a regulation. You mustn't tell lies. It's necessary that you do not lie. Very categorical. You don't have to lie. It's not necessary for you to lie. Have to exist in all tenses so we can use it. Whatever must is impossible. She is having to travel by bus instead. Not is musting. Now we do in these sentences write the correct form. Okay? At your school, we have to wear a uniform. You blah blah cross the roads without looking, it's dangerous. You mustn't cross the road without looking, it's dangerous. You blah blah turn on the central heating, it's automatic. You don't have turn on the central heating, it's automatic. The exams are next week. I blah blah work harder. The exams are next week. I must work harder. You blah blah forget your umbrella. It's going to rain. You don't have to forget your umbrella. It's going to rain. Students blah blah listen to the teacher or they won't understand. Students must listen to the teacher or they won't understand. You blah blah cross the road when the red light is showing. You mustn't cross the road when the red light is showing. We blah blah leave now or we'll miss the plane. We must leave now or we will miss the plane. Soldiers blah blah obey orders. Soldiers have to obey orders. Sorry, I blah blah go now. I don't want to be late. Sorry, I must go now. I don't want to be late. Shop assistants blah blah deal with the public. Shop assistants have to deal with the public. You blah blah come with us if you don't want to. You don't have to come with us. Come with us if you don't want to. I was late this morning because I blah blah wait a long time for the bus. I was late this morning because I had to wait a long time for the bus. In Spain, teachers blah blah wear uniforms. In Spain, teachers don't have to wear uniforms. You blah blah take food in your room. You mustn't take food in your room. You blah blah use the elevators in case of fire. You mustn't use the elevators in case of fire. I blah blah wear glasses because I can't see very well. I have to wear glasses because I can't see very well. You blah blah read this book, it's really good. You must read this book, it's really good. You blah blah go shopping today, we don't need anything. You don't have go shopping today, we don't need anything. You blah blah a mobile phone in class. You mustn't a mobile phone in class. We blah blah feed the animals, it's forbidden. We mustn't feed the animals, it's forbidden. We blah blah book the tickets before it's too late. We must book the tickets before it's too late. In Spain, teachers blah blah work on Saturdays. In Spain, teachers don't have to work on Saturdays. In Britain, you blah blah drive on the left. In Britain, you must drive on the left. Every player in a football team blah blah have a number. Every player in a football team has to have a number. You blah blah forget this birthday again. You mustn't forget his birthday again. Doctors sometimes blah blah work at the weekend. Doctors sometimes have to work at the weekend. Nowadays in Spain, pupils blah blah learn Latin at school. Nowadays in Spain, pupils don't have to learn Latin at school. You blah blah smoke on public place. You mustn't smoke on public places. My wife blah blah go to work today, it's a holiday. My wife doesn't have to go to work today, it's a holiday. You blah blah shout, I can hear you. You don't have to shout, I can hear you. We blah blah be quiet in the library. We have to be quiet in the library. You blah blah use a computer on the plane. You mustn't use a computer on the plane. She blah blah come to the dentist with me. She doesn't have to come to the dentist with me. At a restaurant, you blah blah pay the bill, but you blah blah eat everything. At a restaurant, you have to pay the bill, but you don't have to eat everything. Thank you.